Greetings. This is Tanya, the insurance professor, and I'm here to help you pass the insurance exam. I want to say, hey, it's easy, but it's not. I sat in the same place you are. When I took the exam, my very first time, I didn't pass it. So I understand the anxiety. I understand the feeling. I understand what you're going through because sitting with my instructor, who I thought was fantastic and wonderful, I didn't pass. I went into the exam and started thinking different things. And hey, when I walked out, it wasn't a pass. So I understood also that my confidence was low. And so once I began to rethink how I was going to handle this exam the second time in, I had a whole different approach. So again, I've been exactly where you are. And now that we've worked with hundreds, even thousands of students and helping them to pass the exam, we are helping you to eliminate all the challenges and provide you with a clear, simple, and effective method to pass the insurance exam. So stay with us. We're going to provide you some information today in reference to what's on the insurance exam. One of the biggest things is that everybody wants to know what's on the exam. So why not tell you? It is our motto that failing is not an option. So when you're working with us, we want to be sure that we provide you with the clear, precise info to help you as you're preparing for the exam. Stay with me. So our first slide today is failing is not an option. Tell me what's on the insurance exam. And so Baruch and I have been working together for the past 4 years, helping you to pass the exam. I normally deal with the life and health portion, and Baruch deals with the property and casualty exam. Lo and behold, he's had a 100% passing rate for the past year. So those of you that want to take that property and casualty class, make sure that you see Baruch before you walk into that exam. So in this workshop today, we're going to cover, tell me what's on the exam. Now, it's not complicated, and believe it or not, you can find out exactly what is on your insurance exam. Okay. So it is important to just have the foundational knowledge so that you can be sure that you have things that are compliant. And when you're doing this test, they are dealing with your compliance and your competency in selling an insurance product. Now, every exam is unique according to where you are going to take the test. And again, every exam is unique because no two exams will be the same. So they have a bucket of questions and they're going to throw 120, 130, just depending on what you're taking, between 50 to 150 questions on your exam per state, right? So how do you find out what's on your exam? First of all, there are 3 testing centers. Those testing centers are Prometrics, Pearson VUE, and PSI. Those are the three testing centers throughout the United States. Now, each of them have what they call a, a workbook, and it gives you the specifics about your exam, what it's going to cover, where you can test, where you get your fingerprinting, and so forth. But what they make sure that each uh, testing center does is that they provide you with a course outline. Well, you say, Tanya, hey, a course outline, that's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, but in that course outline, it identifies the different topics that are on your exam. Now, are they any different from one state to the other? Absolutely not most cases, but you have a few things that are different. But types of policies and a term policy, a whole life policy, it's going to be the same in every single state. Same rules, same laws, way they work the same. Everything is going to be the same. So in our classes, we can teach no matter what state you're in. All right. Second, you're going to find out on the course outline, the exam content outline, also the weight of or the percentage of each section on your test. Now, most of us, the way that our books are laid out, they're laid out pretty much in the same order, you know. So they're going to deal with um, the underwriting and completing an application, go to types of policies. And after they go to the types of policies, then it talks about the policy provisions, then the taxes and other laws, and you get over to your state information. Every book is laid out basically the same. So when you find your course outline is laid out that way too. So it's probably the course outline that's dictating how all of your textbooks and how your online practice exams and course information is set up also. So the key information is available, and it's going to talk about the topics that are covered. They'll also tell you the percentage of what each topic weighs. It will also give you the number of questions, your time limit, and your state-specific laws. Now, if for some reason you can't find it, you can always go to your state Department of Insurance, and they will be able to give you a copy of what those outlines are so that you have them for your exam. So number one, and what I just said, and going back, is that you can find out exactly what is on your test by going to the testing center for your particular state and ask for the course outline, the exam outline. You can just go to Google and type in life exam for your state and ask it for what? The course outline. Now, knowing how this thing is scored is huge. Each exam has a certain number of questions. Some people take these things separately, so you may only have 50 questions. Some take them together. So like for your life and health, most people take life and health together and then take property and casualty together. So you may have as many as 150 questions. The passing score is generally 70 or higher, just depending on which state you are. And some questions are what we call pre-test questions. And those Pre-test questions are not scored at all. So your course outline is going to tell you how many pre-test questions you're going to have. Will you recognize them? Sometimes you do because they're just way out in left field. And sometimes you don't. Could be something that's more like a duplicate. So in your scoring method, it's scaled. So the scores may be used to adjust the question difficulty. Points are not deducted for wrong answers. Always, 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 always answer every single question. So I think I wanted to also show you is that when you're looking at your course outline, there are specific areas that have a larger percentage than others. So then that means that you need to study those sections harder and longer so that you are sure that you understand the key concepts of what is on the exam. So, number one, you must know your state specific laws, rules, regulations, practices, licensing requirements. That whole section is very important. So it also has fines. You must know, in reference to your state laws, everything about who is in office and how long that they're going to be there and what their job and duties are. Number two, you got to know certain things in that basic knowledge. So the basic knowledge on your life insurance exam portion is that you'll be dealing with types of policies, the riders, and processing the application. That's the underwriting portion. And so there's 4 sections that make up the life insurance exam section. And so it matters based on each one of those areas, which ones you need to study more. So I can tell you, at your life insurance exam, you got to know your types of policies and your policy provision sections. It says, must know well your legal contracts. That's the information on your application, things about policy, loans, and dividends. But down at the bottom here, I'm telling you that you have to master these keys to excel on the life insurance exam. You got to focus on understanding the policy types, the policy provisions and riders, and the state specific regulations. So it's not like you can just let it all go. No, you can't do that. But you need to put the extra time into these 3 areas of the life insurance portion of the exam. When we're dealing with the health insurance exam, you still have the same thing, general information and knowledge about your health insurance portion of your exam. You have to know the same thing. Types of policies. When we deal with types of policies, that is going to be the largest portion of your exam, along with the provisions. Your social insurance area for most states is very small, but in other states like North Carolina, they have a whole social insurance portion on your Medicare. So that means that you got to know more for that particular state. How would we know that? You only know that when you look at your content outline for your particular state. So it is going to be pertinent that you understand exactly the content that is within types of policies on your health, your provisions, and the state portion. So when we look at property, the property and casualty, your property and casualty portion of your exam, when you're taking that side, your general knowledge, basic types of policies, property policies, policy provisions, endorsements, and types of risk. And again, each one of your exams are going to have a state specific portion. So I explained what that is. But you got to know very well your co-insurances, your clauses, your covered perils versus your exclusions. Your test in property and casualty focuses on a lot of vocabulary, a lot of vocabulary. And if you understand the vocabulary in your property exam, then you're going to pass this with no problem. But if you have a hard time with the vocabulary, then you're going to have a hard time passing this exam. So we focus on the property insurance exam by giving you what we call a cheat sheet. And we have those things outlined so that you understand exactly what's going to be there. When you look at the casualty side of your insurance license, the property and the casualty side, then the casualty is dealing with liability. Liability, who is liable? So on the casualty side, again, you got 60-70% of your knowledge should be on liability policies, workers' comp, umbrella, and liability again. All right. And then again, knowing what your state laws have to do. But what you got to focus on is being able to understand the comparative versus the contributory negligence and the limits of liability. Again, this boils back down to terms and knowing your terms for your casualty side of your license. It's going to be very key. Now, the tips to ensure success is that we say practice makes perfect. Use exam simulators. Now, every course that you take, whether you're doing it with an instructor, whether you're doing it on your own, whether you're doing it online, at the end of each section, they give you questions so that you can answer and understand that particular chapter. And sometimes we still don't get it. But what I want to encourage you to do is just understand the concepts of what they're saying so that you'll be able to identify the questions that are going to be asked on your exam. The reason that you go through your exam simulators is because your exams are timed. And because when they're timed, then you need to be able to make sure that you get through the exam in a timely manner, because that time can go by super fast, spending too much time on a question. And then you want to focus on the weight of the different topics. So put aside additional time to study those topics that have a higher weight on them, okay? Make sure that you do that. And of course, the state laws, rules, and regulations are very key. So make sure that you answer every question. Don't skip. Don't skip when you're doing your pre-test. Don't skip when you are taking your exam. Remember, guesses don't hurt your score. So they're only answering or giving you a score based on what you have correct. Now, you got to get enough correct in order to pass your exam. And so we want to make sure that you answer the questions properly by taking your time. Now, of course, we have a full workshop on how to pass the exam and giving you all the key tips on being able to answer questions properly, because a lot of us are a little bit older. And when we go and take a test, we get scared, or we think about it when we were in high school and how we didn't do that well on an exam, you know? And so I want to encourage you that this exam is not that difficult. And why I say that is because a lot of states do not require people to take a pre-licensing course. So that means that it doesn't matter what you take in order to prepare for your exam, you just need to prepare. And the pre-licensing is to make sure that you get ready for it and take a specific class. But again, so many states don't. So here in Georgia, there is a pre-licensing course requirement. But in Texas, in Florida, no, in South Carolina, they don't have to take a pre-licensing course. They can just walk in off the street. So Pearson View is the same exact testing center in Georgia, Texas, Florida, South Carolina. So, how different can it be? How difficult can it be if the people in South Carolina can just walk in without having to take a pre licensing class, and the folks in Georgia have to take one? You know, so the test cannot be that difficult. And I want you to just study the things that are important, making sure that you understand the concept of something so that you can pass the insurance exam. My final reminders is to make sure that you print off the candidate handbook that comes with your state exam. Make sure that you practice taking some exams, practice your simulators. And if you can find any free exams, make sure that you practice using those. And I like to say practice with a handbook or some sort so that you have to write things down. And then focus on understanding the concepts, not just try memorizing facts. So through thorough, through a thorough preparation is going to be key to your success. So we wish you the very best, wish you um, much success on passing the insurance exam, because we understand that failure is not an option. Have a good day.